Hello, everybody. Pastor Andy here. Welcome to another episode of Making It Simple. We've gotten through a whole nother week. It is Friday, and don't know what your day is lined up to be, but I certainly hope you have a great weekend and are looking forward to spending some time with friends and family and whatever the case. Here in Florida, we are very fortunate again to have another day of beautiful weather. Had a little storm come through yesterday, but that's okay. But one of the great little things that came through today was about 1 o'clock this morning, 1:30 or whatever it was this morning. My little grandson got here, Maverick, and that's pretty cool. Never thought that I would be grandpa. Never even considered that. Never even crossed my mind that that would even be possible, because you're supposed to be uh, old to do that, right? But I guess that's where we are in life, and I couldn't be more thrilled. It's pretty cool. I'm very very proud of my daughter and her little family and her husband, and they're all healthy and doing well. Very excited about that. When we are walking with the Lord, the blessings they seem to be so much more impactful in our life, because again we find purpose in all things. I didn't say we like all things or that we understand all things, but we find purpose. And as we grow in a relationship with Christ, as we understand that more and more, that we spend time with Him in prayer and in study and in times like this, in conversation, we want to know more and we want to go deeper. And again, this is not about philosophy, theology, religion, or what. This is about relationship. This is truly saying, I want to know more. And this is where we find these two that were working with John that are now following Jesus. This is where they wanted to be. They wanted to know more. And I think it's important that we look at that concept today as we jump right in here into the Word. So we look at verse 37, as we said yesterday, and the two disciples heard him and they followed him. And then in verse 38, this is where it gets serious. Then Jesus turned and saw them following. So this was a literal thing. And he said unto them, What do you seek? They said to him, Rabbi, which again is just being interpreted, master, teacher, where do you dwell? Where do you live? So I want us to look at that question. What do you seek? So Jesus, he saw them following. Okay. So again, this we're saying literal. I mean, they're following him on foot. But even more importantly is the spiritual concept of that. He saw their hearts. And they're looking toward him in a very different fashion. He no longer was an unknown person or unknown matter or situation, because they'd been hearing about it, but now they're actually seeing him. But they are looking at him with an inquisitive mindset. They want to know more. They want to learn more, and they want to see more. This is what a relationship's all about, isn't it? Isn't that the founding of a real relationship? Learn more, see more, grow more, all those different things. And so he said to them, What do you seek after? What are you looking for? I would say that is not only an important question, but it is a deep and yet still a very personal question. That each and every one of us, if we are pursuing the relationship side of things, if we are truly interested in learning more about this one called Jesus, then indeed this is a question we need to ask ourselves. What am I looking for? What is my pursuit? What am I after? What is this going to mean for? What am I seeking from him? Because the Bible says that if we seek, we'll find. So what am I looking for? What do I want? What am I after? I think it's important that we look at that. Because again, if it is just for mere religious purposes or surface purposes. And again, please understand, I'm not trying to put down anybody. But for something to have substance, we have to pursue more. If you want to learn a new craft, if you want to learn a new skill, it takes more than one class. It takes more than one 15-minute video on YouTube. It takes more than one session with a counselor, whatever. Most things take more than one opportunity. You know, I remember over the course of my life, I have been so fortunate to do most things that I've pursued. I had a childhood dream to being a professional wrestler. I got to do that. I was nobody. I was never of any known substance or anything else. But I got to be in the ring. I got to feel the power of being slammed on your back. I got to feel what it was like to hear a crowd boo or cheer. But it took more than one time to learn what little bit that I learned. As a police officer, the police academy was powerful. It was unbelievable, the things that we learned and saw. But the real learning didn't take place until I went on my first call and realized just how real life could really be. The first sermon I ever preached, I had no idea what I was doing. I just completely trusted God for that. And now, over 20 some odd years later, it just comes natural. Everything that we want to pursue, everything that we want to do takes more than one time. Everything that we want to understand takes persistence, and it takes desire and willingness to learn. These two now that are following Jesus, they said to him, they said, Rabbi, where do you dwell? Where do you stay? Where do you live? In other words, what they were really saying to him was, I want to spend some time with you. I want to be able to sit down and talk to you. Is that possible? That's what they were saying. That should be, as we pursue relationship with Christ, each and every single one of us, that should be our desire. Now, again, we don't have physically the opportunity to sit down with Jesus in the same room and talk in the sense that you and I are talking right now. However, through our prayer life, through the power and presence of the Holy Spirit, and through the awesome presence of God in our lives and in our situations, it is possible. We can have that type of daily conversation, daily just walk with him, and he will show up. You can just sense his presence in so many different ways, whether it's the innocence of a new baby, whether it's the cresting dolphins that I personally get to see as I cross the bay, whether it's a bird singing. I stepped out of my house this morning and on the way to work, and as soon as I walked out of the door, there was a bird singing, almost as if they were saying good morning. There's so many different places, friends, that if we desire to know, if we desire to go further, if we desire to grow in this relationship with the Lord, he will make a way. He will open doors. He will put the right people in your life to show you exactly what it means and exactly the transformation that can take place in your life. You can become, as the Apostle Paul would later write, that new creature, that new creation. It really does come down to the willingness of our heart. See, we have many today that pursue things of evil. Evil being the pursuit of something that is ill-gotten gain, or that is going to come at the expense of someone else, is going to cause harm to someone. You know, the news is filled with horror stories of the things that people do to each other, all for the concept of getting a few dollars or getting some type of notoriety, that literal 15 minutes of fame or whatever. And all for what? It doesn't last. There's no longevity there. There's no There's nothing there that is going to have any eternal benefit. One of the things that we have to understand, and one of the things that I want to make really, really clear in this format that I call making it simple, is we look at the long term picture. There's nothing wrong with having a good time. There's nothing wrong with enjoying a moment. I defend that all day long. As long, obviously, as you're not hurting someone else in the process, or you're not obviously doing something that's criminal or whatever the case. But what does a relationship such as this, as he said to those that were following, what do you want? Are you just looking for some information? Or are you looking for something that's going to change your life? Are you looking for something that's going to not only last you now, but it's going to last you for eternity? Because the more you know, the more I'll show you. The more you want to know, the more I'll give you. Is that where your pursuit is today? These two wanted to sit down and talk to Jesus because they wanted to know more. It wasn't about the inquiring of some reason to try to find an aha moment. Aha, this is not true, or what. They weren't digging for dirt. They wanted to know, is this real? Does this truly mean everything that I've heard that it means? And I can tell you from my own personal experience, the closer you get, the more you'll know. It's as real can possibly get. That is my desire on this format called Making It Simple, is that you understand it's real. And you have a desire after the lessons, if you go back and listen to all of them, you'll see the consistent model there, that the desire that I have is to know him more. The desire that I have for you is that you know him more, because it'll change your life. And I am a firm believer that we still got things to do here. We can get into a lot of in-depth things and use words like prophecy and end times and all these other things. And I'm not saying that all that stuff's not real. I'm not saying that at some point in time that things will change, because if we look at the way the Bible is written, it's just lining right up. It's there. There's no way around that. However, in between, with every ending, okay, if we use sports as an analogy, the end of every match, the end of every football game, the end of every baseball game has a score or a winner. However, prior to that, the game took place. Life has an ending as it pertains to the actual literal breathing of oxygen on this earth. It has an ending. It comes to an end. However, prior to that, a life has been lived. Life is a journey. How it ends and where it goes from there is how we live that journey. Oftentimes, I've used this illustration of a birth date and a death date. The most important part is the dash in between the two times. What'd you do with it? And that's what Jesus is saying. What do you want? What are you looking for? This desirous relationship that we should have with Christ should be one that is ever pursuant of a life-changing situation, and life-changing for the better, because the better our life is, the better other people's lives are. Because when we're pleasant, when we're joyful, when we're forgiving, when we're kind, when we're loving, when we're peaceful, it makes our world a better place. And we need more of that in the current climate that we're in right now. We maybe never have seen cruelty and hatred at the levels that we see right now. Jesus is the answer. And I don't say that as a pastor. I don't say that as anything else but a follower and believer of Christ. I'm telling you that that's the answer, is the changing heart that Jesus can bring. And so my goal in our time together is to take these passages and show everyone how they apply to life, because they're real and they will absolutely make your day better and the days of those around you better. So my prayer for you is you have a blessed weekend. God bless you. Thank you for giving me a few minutes of your day. Go back and read this. Start back at chapter 1 here at verse 1 and follow along. I believe you'll get a blessing out of this. I really do, because when we begin to use it in a format that it makes sense, that it's simple, we will follow. And when we do that, when we begin to follow Christ earnestly, we will see things that we've never seen before. We'll see majesty and beauty in things that maybe we've even taken for granted. You won't see the ocean as just a lot of water. You won't walk up to the Grand Canyon and just think it's a big hole. You will see the glory of God. You will look at that new baby and say, wow, how cool is that? A new life. When we look at ourselves in the mirror and see, I'm not who I was. And thankfully, I'm not who I'm going to be. It's an ever changing time. What a blessing. What a greatness that we've been given the opportunity to be a part of. God bless you all. Thank you again. And I will see you, Lord willing, on Monday. Have a blessed weekend. Take care.